Hello everyone, in this video I want to talk to you about Fortnite Battle Royale's newest update. So we're going to start with the gameplay changes and then we'll get into some other things that have been added with this update later on in the video. The first thing I want to talk about is the Infantry Rifle. This is a new rifle that is available in common, uncommon, and rare variants, so gray, green, and blue. It deals 41, 43, or 45 base damage with a 2x headshot multiplier. It can be found in 4-loot, chests, vending machines, and it uses medium ammo. The description is, fires quick moving projectiles without damage fall off. So, yeah, it's a projectile weapon instead of a hit scan weapon. Basically, there's two types of weapon, projectile and hit scan. Hit scans are weapons like the ARs, the shotguns, the SMGs, these weapons where you shoot and the damage is instantly applied to where the bullet would hit. And then projectile weapons are things like the snipers, where you have to lead for them, or the RPG, where you have to lead for them or compensate for drop. So the description, it says it fires quick moving projectiles, so it'll probably have very little drop, but there's no damage fall off at all. I'm actually really interested to see how this weapon plays out. I like the idea of having projectile based assault rifles that require some degree of leading and like compensating for range, and having some degree of reward for using these harder to use weapons rather than just having the hit scan. So I typically in most games prefer hit scan weapons, but we'll have to see how this weapon plays out. I'm actually really excited to play with this weapon, and I'm really excited that they added this concept to the game. So essentially you're trading the fall off. It has infinite range, but the trade-off is that it might be harder to use at range because you'll have to lead with it. The bush consumable has been changed so that the first damage that you take while using the bush will be dealt to the bush and not the owner. As it is now, the person in the bush would lose the bush and then they would also take damage. So basically you could use a bush, take a shot, and then you wouldn't take the damage for that shot, but instead the bush would be destroyed. I actually really do not like this change, and I feel like it pretty much just encourages you using a bush at all times. Especially early game, and especially in like shotgun fights, you should just always be a bush, and I actually don't want to be a bush. So yeah, if you find a bush, use it, and you're going to be able to remove some damage. If you have a bush and you get sniped, the snipe would destroy the bush and not do damage to the person. I feel like that'd be pretty annoying for players to play against. And then also the bush is such a rare item that this kind of just comes like, it's an extreme case of RNG. If you find this bush, you like get to tank a shot. I'm not sure how I feel about that. We'll have to see how it plays out in game, but my initial reaction to it is that I don't like it and that I would just prefer for it not to be that way. There was a nerf to the hand cannon. Its nerf was that it reduced environmental damage or damage to structures. The hand cannon was unchanged in any other way. Like, it remains the same. The only change is that you won't be able to one-shot structures. You'll still be able to one-shot wood when it's first placed. You'll have a short time span to one-shot wood because the damage to structures is 100 and 105 respectively, depending on the rarity you have of the deagle. So you can one-shot wood when it's first placed, but brick and metal won't be able to be one-shot by the deagle at all. So I'm interested to see how this plays out. I think the deagle will still be a really good weapon. You just won't be able to focus destroying builds with it, and you'll actually have to outbuild your opponents. But I still plan on using deagle pump. Just have to change how you play a bit. The next change in this update is that the rocket launcher is no longer available in chests. It's only available in supply drops and vending machines, and it increased the chance of receiving an RPG from a supply drop from 25 to 50%. So half the time you see a supply drop, you should get an RPG. Also, the reload speed of these weapons was increased by about a second, or about 0.9 of a second, basically a second for each rarity. The frag grenades were also vaulted in this update, and the clinger grenades were unvaulted. Not really sure how I feel about this. I don't really care either way. I don't really use either of them too much. And then also the Cupid's crossbow has returned for a limited time, and it works out similar to how it did when it was in the game last year. If you guys were unable to play with it, it's essentially a silent sniper that isn't as deadly. I don't really know. It's not something I really enjoyed using. The next biggest change I want to talk about in this update, and it's a change that I'm actually super excited for, is that they added the pop-up cup settings to default playlist. It doesn't seem like they added the editing change, but they added 50 HP or shield when you kill an opponent, 50 of each material when you kill an opponent, and now each material, instead of being capped at 1,000, will be capped at 500, but to compensate for this, you harvest much faster. So basically with these changes, you don't have to spend as much time harvesting, but everybody has less mats, so it's like balanced. But when you kill people, you get mats, and then if you do run out of mats, you can farm it up faster. I'm actually really happy to see these changes. It really fixes the issue that we've had where it's been difficult to find shields, because if you just kill people, you can get shield off them or health off them. And then not being able to farm as much throughout the course of the game if the zone goes far isn't as detrimental as it was in the past, because you'll farm up faster, and if you kill someone you'll probably be able to get a good amount of mats from them, not only based on the kill, but just because everybody's farming faster, you should be able to get mats from them unless you use a lot of mats in the fight. I also think this lessens like the severity of third parties. If someone third parties you and you, like, let's say you're in a fight and you kill somebody and then someone tries to third party, the health that you got back in that fight and the mats that you got back from killing that opponent could be the difference maker between you living or dying. A lot of times in fights you might not take a lot of damage, and that 50 puts you back up to full. And then if you did use all your mats in the fight, for example, and you get that 150 from the kill, that might be the difference maker in you staying alive and being able to play out the match or dying to the third party. So I actually really like these changes. I've wanted this for a really long time, especially with the changes they made in Season 7, because they made the zone favor the edge. And this just creates a lot of scenarios where at times you aren't able to farm as much or you aren't able to loot as much. And I feel like the 50 HP on kills and the mats on kills and then the faster harvest rate really helps with all of those things. We also got some changes to the zip lines. There's now an interact button for the zip lines. You also get fall damage immunity when you are on a zip line. So if you hit a zip line and then jump off, you won't take fall damage when you land. This lessens the impact, like the risk of using zip lines, but you're still an easy target for people to shoot. And now you will no longer accidentally hit the zip lines. This is a good change. Nothing bad to say about it. It's fine. The next change that we got is the final circle. The travel distance was increased by 48%. And then the shrink time has increased from 45 seconds to 75 seconds. Basically what this does is it makes it to where that last circle, basically the way I'm reading it is it's just the last circle, where it closes forever and then it becomes a heal off. It's going to make it to where you're going to have to travel further, but you get more time to do that. So the likelihood of games ending in a heal off is lower. This doesn't really happen in pubs much at all, but I'll put a clip from a scrim game I recently played with my friend in her custom Discord on screen so you can kind of see what this is like, where players are just forced to heal up. Basically, these players would have to travel further and there would be a little bit more time, so that likely they would kill each other or more players would die off at the very least before the game results in a heal off. So I think this is a great change, and it's actually it's a great change. I think it's good. Turbo building, reduce the additional timer for turbo building from 0.15 of a second to 0.05 of a second. Turbo building is going to work better, which is nice. And those are the major changes for this update. That's all I want to talk about as far as like game changes go. But now I want to talk about the overtime challenges. If you complete 13 free overtime challenges by February 27th, you will receive the upcoming Season 8 Battle Pass for free. So you have 13 days to complete these 13 challenges. I'm not sure if there's going to be one per day or if it's 13 is going to come out all at once. Let me know if you want me to make videos on these. I definitely can do it if you would like to see that. But basically, yeah, you'll get challenges and you can complete them to get the battle pass for free. This is a really interesting concept, and it's actually just, I mean, it's not the biggest deal to me because I would just buy the battle pass anyways. But for people who can't afford it or don't want to spend money on the game, I think this is really cool because it gives them an opportunity to unlock the battle pass for completing challenges. So let me know what you think of that in the comments below and what you think of this update in general, and would you like to see me make videos on the challenges? Everybody drop a comment below on what you think. If you did enjoy this video, please do remember to give it a like rating and subscribe if you would like to see more. I do live stream Fortnite every single day, so if you want to talk about the game with me, come to my stream. Thanks for watching, guys.